Toby here, and today we have a new episode in the art review series. And today we'll check out the work of Rinotuna, a character artist based in South Korea. Very interesting artwork, very true to the description, and it's just a bunch of characters. And there's a lot here to explore, but I think we'll focus on, like, he does, or she, he or she. Is it a he or she? Who knows? But I think what I like about the portfolio here is there are posts where you see a bunch of sketches under doodles, which I do like. I guess they're part studies or part experiments, and I think that's super cool because you can learn a lot by doing a bunch of studies. And I think collectively speaking, I don't really know what the focus is. Sometimes it's fantasy, sometimes it's real life, sometimes it's a bit sci-fi-ish, cyberpunk-ish. So it's kind of all over the place, but what is common all throughout is heavy on the character art, no shit. But the style is also very consistent, which I do like, even if sometimes it's a pencil sketch, even if it's in grayscale, even if it's full color. There is this solid sense of consistency in this portfolio, and whenever I see something that's consistent and good, it must be reviewed. Oh, I saw this before. I've seen this before in Pinterest. And this husky guy too. Yeah, he's pretty fuck. But anyway, let's focus in on one of his posts. So here you can see he does she or this person, this artist, sorry, doesn't really show like the step by step, but you'll see in some posts where it's just a pencil sketch, which I do like. But you can tell the proportions are very Korean-esque. If you've seen a bunch of Korean artists, they do anime style, but it's very distinct to their, I guess, culture, like the proportions, the way it's rendered, the way it's done. It's just very Korean, which I do like. Like, it adds to their collective style, which is very impressive, and it just boosts your cultural, I guess, image. Is that Neil? Oh wow. Sometimes the posts are kind of thirsty, which I'm not complaining. And the equal opportunity, you see guys, you see chicks, and you can tell by the rendering style, there's not a lot of texture. It's just, I can't even see the brush strokes sometimes, but it's fairly clean, which is very common in anime. Like, they don't do, or people who do a bunch of anime art, it's usually not as textured. Not all, but a good portion of it, like the vast majority, tend to render their illustrations, their characters in a very clean manner. It kind of makes sense because it does transfer better to, say, manga or any animation types of adaptations, which is interesting. So here we have a bunch of bunny dudes and bunny chicks, or bunny chick. Again, you don't see a bunch of textures. It's just painted, rendered well. Very similar to a gouache approach, where you can see a solid layering of different values. It's not very impressionistic, it's solid and based, and it looks like a complete picture. Even without the background, even without any additional stuff. And I can see a bit of that contour that goes around the form. Like, it's a black, solid silhouette line, contour line. It's not always thick, but it's there. You can tell by like this edge right here, it's always there. And it helps to keep things, I guess, contained and clean. It adds to that cleaner look. So I see a bunch of mannequin studies, maybe. You can tell a lot of stories by simply focusing on, say, the pose, the facial expressions, which is very common in anime types of artwork. Oh wow. And it's super fun. And you can tell by the work of this artist, like, this person is having fun doing these studies, illustrations, artwork. Lots of sexy stuff, male and female, so that's very awesome. Because sometimes people have often, like, there's a common struggle where if you focus too much on women, whenever you draw men, they start to look like women, or whenever you draw men, or you're kind of focused on that primarily, whenever you do draw women, they kind of look a little too masculine. But this artist, I think, has a nice balance of both. Now, obviously for me, if you have the feet, it's It's perfect. Oh, tomboy vibes. So we have a Chad here, and we have a boss babe chick with her belt kind of loose. Very interesting. And yeah, the body is well sculpted, well painted, but do you see a lot of texture? Not really. Even the hair, it's painted the same way as the body is. So there's a very consistent way of rendering. Like there's no variation in rendering style. Again, with the drawings, if you look at this type of proportions, it's very common amongst, again, Korean artists. Check out the work of Miss Jisoo. I think she belongs, or she's under the Super Annie team in South Korea. She works with the recently gone Kim Jong-gi. Anyway, a lot of South Korean artists tend to have these proportions, so I love that consistency. Again, the rendering style, it's very solid. The only dash-like strokes here are in the shadow area maybe, and in the but this one's more of a detail and not like a shading thing. When it comes to the shading, I think it's only this part and maybe here, but that's it. So in this part, her eyes are a bit smaller because of the glasses, I guess. Wow, such Chad energy. That's basically me. Made in Hell, interesting. Risky place. Very thirsty photo for. Well, it depends for everyone. It's for everyone to enjoy. Here we have like a Bible verse maybe. Be nice to people. She's like the angel and he's like the devil. Makes sense. But again, rendering style, even the way the fabric is done or the folds, it's just super consistent. The depiction of hair here, the arm hair, just a bunch of dashy lines. But if you look at the way the arm is rendered, it's so clean. It almost looks like a 3D model. Oh my god, Zaddy. And I love the eyes. They're gray and they're very soft looking. But if you look at again the rendering style, super clean. I love the extra detail for the water spots, like the dripping of the. It's a bit too much. Okay. Whoa, easy. So this chick is kind of thirsting. Thirsting is having a peek on this husky express guy. Very buff. Whether it's the arms, the fabric, or the face, everything else. Very consistent rendering style. She does look more anime than this guy. Like this guy has more of the mature look, but she looks younger. But her face is more anime, I think. Like the eyes, it's a bit big, so I'm not sure why. But it seems like they're from the same world, maybe. But he kind of looks like a product. If you look at any kind of product design, industrial design types of illustrations, they're generally more clean. And I think for this artist, the rendering style fits better with more of that look, like super clean. Well, not super clean, but just more finished, more ready for publication, I guess. And the backgrounds are usually not as done, so there's that. This one's a furry, sus. Interesting. Magic chick. But do you see a lot of textures? It's not that much. You don't see a lot of unnecessary brushstrokes. Wow. So we have a beach babe here, a hunk. Oh. And we have she reminds me of that Samsung chick, the animated one. Oh shit, and there's even a shadow of a fence. Very nice. Even if the background is white, because of stuff like this, she belongs in some kind of environment, so it feels like there's more to it. So you can play around with these concepts too in your own work, I think. That's pretty cool. Some dashy lines here, so there is that Lion Decker-ish approach. Lion Decker does a lot of these dashy lines as well, but for the most part, it's not as strong. It's still fairly like gouache, I guess. Not a lot of texture. Oh, is that a vein? Damn, fuck me. Ugh. Nike chick. Okay, she's kind of hot. Oh, I love the blur effect. Makes you Like it forces you to focus more on her face, on her smile. So that's kind of cool. But again, you can see overall around the figure, there is a boldened line. It contains, even this cloud thing, it contains everything under a solid line. So again, it does add to that more cleaner, more contained look. Same thing for this guy. Looks like a Barbie kind of guy, but I love the eyes, expression too. So we have a demon here, and we have an angel. She seems more, I think it's a she, seems more devious, I think. Even the wings it looks clean. Like you don't see a lot of you see the suggestion of the feathers, like the edge, I guess, but you don't see like the rougher parts. Everything just seems more presentable, I think. I love the folds here in the arms, in the pants too. So we have the furry version and we have the original chick version. Oh my. I think she's wet or something. Maybe she's from a pool girl or something. I love the coat and the chihuahua. Ugh. I'm not a fan of chihuahuas, but oh wow, look at this. Again with a solid line around the whole figure. Even the hair kind of goes well, or it goes along the figure, so it's very contained. If you look at the silhouette, it's not that like drastic. So this is a boxer, demon chick. Again, break down the silhouette. It's very contained, very clean cut. Rendering style is still solid, not a lot of texture. Same thing for this guy. Some dashy lines here and there for the shading and but it's mostly for shading. If not, it's just a detail like for the sleeves or something, but it's very minimal. I see a lot of minimalism, it's very efficient. I don't see a lot of time wasting. It's mostly about the story, I guess, and you can see that in a lot of these doodles. There's always a story to it, and I think that's super cool. Even if it's like simple comics or simple panels like this, I think this artist wants to focus more on the vibe, the energy of the piece, rather than, or maybe it's the rendering part that really makes it, or it forces you in a way to focus more on the story. Like you don't have to peek around the artwork. I mean, it looks good, but you don't have to like guess things, I guess. So everything is straightforward, everything is direct, and you have no choice but to you die. You have no choice but to, I guess, die with this artwork. Oh wow. And sometimes there's a play in perspectives. Sometimes it's a flat pose. Sometimes you'll see it from above. This one's super dynamic. The way the folds are done definitely it showcases the really simplified rendering style, but how that can also communicate some sense of complexity. You can see it a lot in like the pinching of the folds. Whenever you look at clothes, there's a lot of like planes that are just too complicated sometimes, but I think having a simple, straightforward rendering style like Rinotuna it makes sense. So even from the sketch version, it already looks clean, it already looks contained and efficient, and very heavy, not heavy, but very straightforward with the shapes too. It's not necessarily that gestural, it's just straightforward, and you see a lot of straight lines, and I mean there are curvy lines too, but it's not as like fluid, it's more just solid, I guess. Another hunk. So this one's more of the nerd, the jock nerd, and this one's maybe the nervous kind of nerd, who knows. This one's again the only thing that's rendered here is the face and the arms, but if you look at the torso, the silhouette is just a bunch of straight lines, and it's very not heavy, it's just solid like a rock. It's not gestural, it's not extremely like skewed, it's just there, and it forces your eye also to stay there and not have to move around as much. So this one's more of a Harry Potter inspired piece, I believe. Oh no, it's a hunk and the reverse hunk, a hink or a twink. Well, it's a chick, so. And anyway, that's it for this art review session. I do recommend you check out the work of Rinotuna. Beautiful doodles, and there's way more in the profile, so I will link the links in the description below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.